Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Local Solutions, and on this channel I film about faith, marriage, motherhood, all that wholesome content kind of stuff. So if you're stopping by for the first time, click on that subscribe button, join my channel membership, and just join the amazing Team Solutions. In today's video, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about how relocating tests your marriage. Okay, someone has to talk about it because where are the videos addressing this? Why is nobody talking about this? Anyway, without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So to give a little background, my family and I relocated here last year, February 2021, and I've been married for a little over 3 years when we relocated. 3 years and 6 months actually, and then we packed all our lives. Our one kid, she was close to 2 at the time, and we flew across continent and relocated from Nigeria to Canada. And we came here. We used to live in the house with our living nanny. So we had a living nanny in Nigeria, and then in the state where we lived in Nigeria, we had my sister, his sisters at some point, and then it became just one sister for him, and then for me as well. There was even a time that I had 3 of my sisters in the same city, right? So that's to say we also had family, and then obviously colleagues, friends, and people that you literally grew up with and are very familiar with. We left all of that behind and came all the way to Canada. Now, when we got to Canada, we didn't really have community. And for a couple who had survived COVID together, I feel like it wasn't much of an alien thing to us. Like, we heard so much about the start of people breaking up and families dissolving during COVID because people were forced to be in the same space. And that was shocking to us because we were like, why? We enjoyed this time. We love to be at home. My husband and I are both like homebodies. I won't say introverts, but more of homebodies. We just enjoy our space. My husband, because he grew up as a pastor's kid, his parents will have a lot of people in the house. He has grown to just also enjoy having people over. But I think having people in his own space takes priority to him rather than going to other people's spaces, if that makes sense. So anyway, we came here and it was nothing out of the ordinary for us, like I said, right? So we're navigating it one day at a time. In fact, we're faced with so many activities of trying to settle into a new country that it wasn't much of a problem as well, because it's not like we're sitting down just moping at each other. We were busy, and when life is busy in marriages, sometimes it's good because you don't even have time to be petty. You don't have time to pick on issues, and every time you get together you just enjoy it. We had a good time, guys. We're living by this beautiful waterside, and we'll take walk every evening. And then soon enough, I feel like the honeymoon phase of our relocation started to wear off. Like, it now became, okay, this is where you live. You're not here for holiday. And for us, that happened when my husband, started to job hunt, and he got a job, and the reality of, okay, now we have to sustain this life that we're, faced with. And then for me, I got pregnant as well. So look at how things just went from, okay, we're on holiday, just having a good time, jolly good time, to okay, now there is financial responsibility and bills to be paid. Like, there is a child on the way as well. How do you then start to navigate these things? And if you agree with me, pressure is one of the things that takes away the fun and the boom and the what would I call it? It's like it takes away all the mushiness in a marriage. It can't take away, actually, not like takes away, but when you're caved into pressure, it makes you do some things that you're like, do I even know myself? So for us, it was that season of pregnancy, and I'd said it here before that pregnancy even takes a toll on our marriage, for one. So imagine being pregnant and then try to be financially responsible. And I feel like we had navigated those 2 things before as a newlywed who got pregnant, so to speak, but the pressure wasn't as much. And this is why I feel like being in a new country where we didn't really have community, and that takes me to my first point, like that lack of community can really make your marriage go through. We had communities such that when we would even have arguments, like it was easy to step outside and go cool it off with your sister, and then maybe go cool it off with your brother. Or now all we have is just on the phone. And you agree with me that it's different when maybe you have a couple another couple that you can see, that you can watch how they're doing. Sometimes it gives you good energy. Sometimes it's like, okay, it's a way to just cool off and then refocus on the issue, right? But here it's like all of you are inside that same house. Both of you are inside that same house. So for us, that was the difference, and that was like one of the things we started to realize, that the lack of community here, and COVID didn't help. We held on to a church community also for so long, so we didn't even have that, as like churches were not even open by the time we came, so we didn't have that as a let out as well. So that lack of community is something I feel like if you're coming, and that's why people would advise that if you're relocating, make sure you go to a space where you know people. They're not just saying it so that you can have someone watch your kids when you're not around, or just so that you can have barbecues. It's also because the pressure of not having community can really do a number on, your relationship with your spouse. And if you've ever experienced this, then let us know in the comments below. Let's talk about it, because again, people don't talk about these things. Now imagine if we didn't even have that experience. So for us, we're able to walk through all that season because, again, whether or not we had community before we relocated, it didn't change the fact that we had gone through this season before. So that helped us, gave us a bit of experience on, okay, how do we navigate this? This time it was just the variable of lack of community that was there, so we're able to still navigate it. But imagine that was our first experience with, we just got newly married, and then we came, and then now we have this financial pressure, and then now we have this baby on the way. Like, I feel like that could literally cave a marriage in. But yeah, that's the first thing. Have community, seek community, because it helps. It really helps. Even in the help of, like, people always say, can someone watch your child when you try to take time to reconnect? And that takes me to my next point, the lack of living nanny in this country. Not lack, because some people can afford it and they have it, but it is very expensive. We have gotten to a point where we have a nanny come watch our kids for us, maybe over the weekend. We can afford to do that now. But if you want to have a living nanny, that's going to cost you so much money. Like I said, it is available. Some people even have, like, they import, for lack of a better word, their nannies through a scheme and stuff like that. But it's not the norm. A lot of Africans that are here in the diaspora, well, this is the diaspora now, but that relocate, don't have that luxury of bringing their living nanny with them. So there's also that place where you have to do all the work. There is nags about, you didn't do this is your role, like all that gender role things, like so many things. When you don't have help, at some point we even had to get a house cleaner. At some point we had to start using disposable plates, just things that will reduce the everyday pressure. Because you would also agree that sometimes marital issues don't just come up as one big thing. It's usually a little by little, here and there, attitude flying here and there, unresolved issues here and there, that add up to be one big thing, right? So I feel like, I've seen that, how we can't really say, my husband and I are going out to just have a good time, and we know that our kid is fine at home with the nanny, maybe even just for 2 or 3 hours. The slogan in the abroad is, if you don't do it, it's not going to get done. If you don't clean up, it's not going to get done. Nobody's going to do it for you. When I was back home, back in Nigeria, I could say, Nanny, I've had a really, really long week. Please be with the kids. Well, now in this case, it will be kids. Don't come to my room until 12 p.m. on a Saturday morning. I can reconnect with my husband. But here, you're constantly tired. You're constantly under pressure. So the lack of help, the lack of, like, living nanny, it's another thing that does a great number on your marriage. And it just makes sense that you're very aware of it before you come, so that if you want to make plans to employ a living nanny, if you want to make plans to do whatever that will make the job easier for you both, even the understanding, what they say about awareness, that understanding that, okay, this is what we're going to be faced with. You can say, okay, you can't 100% allocate roles, but just knowing, that's why I'm doing this video, just know, and then you can approach it and do something about it. Now, the third thing I'm going to say is, like, a major thing. A lot of people, and I think this is what even led me to make this video, this is like relocation season. A lot of people are taking UK, Canada, and like running study route and everything. And I'm happy about the opportunities that enable people travel with their whole family. But because of all of this, looking for greener pastures and wanting a better life for yourself as well, there are also opportunities that now make people live apart, which is like literally separation. Like, let's call it what it is. You're not separated in the real sense of it, but you're living separately, and that takes a major toll. I was telling somebody that, like, when my husband traveled to Nigeria for just 1 week when I just had a baby, thank God my mom was here. But if my mom wasn't here, he might have had to still travel. Like, I was full of, I don't even know what to call it. Maybe it was postpartum or whatever, and my mom was still here. I still had help. So I imagine people who, when I've had people that said, my husband was Nigerian when I was taking care of all my kids. Now there's grace, and grace differs, but I think even just living separately, of course, that puts a toll on your sex life as a couple. You're not as intimate, and we know that also has its many advantages and blessings in even connecting, right? There are trust issues there. There are like feeling of resentment. Maybe one person feels like, I'm carrying all the heavy burden because I'm the one with the kids, and the other person, you're just there enjoying your life, even if that person is struggling and making money just to be able to balance things out. Like, there are so many things that are involved when people live together, and literally is relocation that is causing it. People looking for a better life and stuff for their family. Men are having to stay away from their kids. Kids are not identifying their, for the most part. I have heard of situations where it's even like moms staying away and then the kids are with the dads and stuff like that. But yeah, that's just another thing that this whole relocation thing does. And it's just the one that's even more obvious in front of you. You go and reconnect. You see, you go and reconnect is even good. Can we talk about the fact that it is indefinite for some people? And I feel like for me, that's always the part where I'm like, no, but have conversations about it. How long is this going to be? Then there is something to look forward to. There's something to plan ahead for, but not knowing if and when you would be together with your spouse and living together, that must be a lot. And I mean, that's just one of the issues. If you're in that situation where you are telling your husband or partner or your wife, go ahead, I'll join you, or you're having separate for your kids, I feel like if you don't have good strategies around it, like frequency of visits or even frequency of phone calls and stuff like that, or maybe when you're here, you take like the most advantage. But what's funny is that when you do travel to meet them, now you're faced with all these other issues that I had said before, because now in the next 4 weeks that you're around, then the wife is probably like, please, this is my own time to rest, then take over. Like, so do you even really have time to still connect, at the end of the day? So there's that as well. Now, lastly, I'm going to talk about forced being together. That can be a blessing, right? Like, I've spoken about isolation, which is what happens when you don't have community. But in this case, like, that can be a blessing, right? Like, you are forced to be together. So for a family who relocates, sometimes you are together in the house and your schedule is so out there to everybody that the time that the kids are going swimming, that Saturday is for recital, that Mondays is for music lessons for the kids. Like, your work is defined, your partner knows you're at work from here to here. You can't really lie with traffic because it's like, dude, I have Google Maps too. Like, so there's so many blessings that, and this is supposed to be a pro, right, that come with are forced to be together. But however, that in itself can be a problem, because when you guys are in each other's faces all the time, feeling like you're not giving me a breathing room, I feel like it can also cause a lot of problems in relationships and marriages, right? So I don't really want to explain this so much, because it has a lot to, in common with that first point of isolation and finding community. But this is different in that what is supposed to be a blessing can quickly end up being a curse and, a disadvantage for your marriage if you don't, if you're not aware of it. What we try to do is find activities outside of each other. Yes, we're still responsible for, accountable is the word, I'm going to be here, but still find activities to do separately from each other, so that what the system is forcing you to do, always being together, you can break that. Because always being together, as much as it's a good thing, can also have its own downside, from like taking each other for granted, see finish, not having your own personal hobbies or interest anymore, and then now you're relying on your partner for everything in this world. Like, there's so many things that just being in each other's spaces 24/7 and just having a routine around just domestic lifestyle and kids lifestyle can do to your marriage in a negative light, right? So that's it. If you have any other experiences about how relocating has, caved in your marriage, please feel free to share in the comments below. I pray that God will continue to help us navigate it. Someone once said that relocating will either make or mar your marriage, and I strongly believe it if you're not careful. And that's why I wanted to make this video, to just paint that awareness and sow a seed into your heart. I don't think that, because we're going to have a better lifestyle, it automatically translates to a better marriage. Like, in many cases, it's even the flip side, right? So yeah, I hope that this short video does something impactful to somebody, and you're just aware of the things ahead, and you can plan for it, and have one more weapon in your arsenal, weapon of awareness in your arsenal, to tackle the issues when they come. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find the light in your soul.